So good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's Sue McKenna talking from the Centre for Postgraduate Studies, and we've been holding a whole series of seminars which are under the heading of early career researchers and have emerged out of various requests to focus on what is needed when you're starting off as an academic and you wanting to build your research career, what kind of skills and things you want. And so we got a whole lot of questions, and we have a whole lot of requests for sessions, and we've tried to set up sessions in response to those requests. But if you still have a request for a session, please do get hold of us, and we will do our best to put in place a session such as this one. But I very quickly realized that perhaps the name Early Career Researchers is a bit of a misnomer, because I certainly I don't think anyone wants to call themselves an experienced researcher, but as someone who's been doing research for a little while, I find that I keep learning from these all the time, and I don't think I'm allowed to call myself an early career researcher anymore. So I do think that these are useful for all of us, wherever we are on this strange journey called academia. Yes, I've just been asked, will I get a recording? Yes, I will. And everyone who's registered for the session will get a link to the recording. It gives me great pleasure now to hand over to my colleague Debbie from the library. She's the Principal Librarian of Digital Scholarship, and she's going to be helping us to navigate. It seems to be more and more and more apps and websites and things that I should kind of have an understanding of, and I often feel completely in the dark about. So we are very grateful to you for sharing your time today, Debbie, but we're also really glad that we have a person like Debbie in the institution, because whatever we don't understand from today's session, we have a person that we can contact. And I know Debbie's been enormously helpful to a lot of us trying to get our ORCIDs and sorted and so on. So obviously, I'm sure Debbie would like us all to get on with all of this stuff on our own, but it's really great to know that there is someone that we can contact in the library for help as these particular issues become relevant to us in our research trajectories. Thanks, Debbie. Over to you.
Hi, Sue. Hi, colleagues, and thank you for that introduction, Sue. Yes, we in the library are just very, very keen to assist where we can. And here today, I'm very grateful for an opportunity to discuss some of these things that crop up. And often I would imagine you would want to push them aside because, oh no, I don't want to engage with ORCID. I don't want to engage with insights. What are these? So I would like to today to think of this as being a discussion sort of forum, where you're welcome to interrupt and ask questions along the way. And I've also tried to make our time together a little bit more interactive, and hopefully it works out that I can get the Google quizzes going, just to have an idea of where we are as a group, and where, if you feel like you would need some assistance, either as on an individual basis, that would be great. And if there are a number of you who would like some assistance in a particular area, we can do that in a group session, sort of more or less like a workshop. So that is more or less what I'm hoping to achieve by the end of our session together. So we can start. I'm going to speak a little bit about scholarly communication. It's very short. Then research identifiers, Google Scholar, ORCID, Insights, Rhodes Digital Commons, and reference management software. And you'll see as we go along why we're going to do that. So scholarly communication, the reason why I've included this slide in our discussion is because we tend to think a lot of research in traditional ways. We have traditional ways where we have to conduct the way we do research practices, and those are essential. But there are also more and more informal channels that keep cropping up, where you would probably find it would be very useful to complement your research, your traditional research practices. And the last sentence in the definition of scholarly communication is really a system that includes the both formal means of communication, such as publication in peer-reviewed journals and informal channels. And you will see how this definition sort of rolls out as we progress through our time together now this afternoon. Okay, so this is a busy slide, but essentially on the right-hand side of the slide is a basic form of the research life cycle. And in a sense, everything that we discussed today is centered around the research cycle, and you will see that you, the researcher, are in the middle of that cycle. You have an identity which connects you to the way you discover and make also your own research discoverable, where you create and analyze your research and how you manage it, how you publish and disseminate your research, and reuse. And you will see that there's a mixture of icons there, and those mixture of icons are your traditional research practices, such as Google Scholar, your Scopus Author ID, your Researcher ID. And then there's a more informal complementary platforms that you could think about as they would be incredibly useful. So you have your Zotero, your Mendeley, Loop, ResearchGate, Academia.edu, your Zenodo, your Incites, and then also Orchid ID. There's Figshare, and then the Seals Digital Commons, and you'll see how all that fits in as we go along. Okay, so we are going to talk about Google Scholar, and here I have a little quiz for you, and I'm hoping that this quiz works out. So I'm going to paste the quiz. There's just 4 questions, and you'll see the questions there. And I'm pasting the quiz in the chat. And if you can log onto the Google form, I think it would be quite fun for us to see how we respond to those questions. So this will help us as we go along in the presentation. So I'm hoping this works. Are you able to also see that Google Scholar screen on the web page?
Yeah, we can see it, and I'm hoping lots of people are going to follow the link in the chat and quickly complete that survey. And it looks
shouldn't
like
take very long. Yes,
the numbers are going up, so people are managing to do it. If you haven't done it yet, guys, in the chat bar there's a link. You can just click on that link and it'll open a quiz for you to complete.
I was trying to figure out how to use Mentimeter, Sue, so you're going to have to teach me.
Oh, sure. Although Mentimeter is limited in the number of things you can do simultaneously, whereas Google, you've been able to get quite a lot of questions. And oh, sorry, yes, thank you, people who've just joined.
Please resend the link. Okay.
There we go. Oops, no, don't know what I copied. Something that was already on my mouse. There we go.
Thank you, Sue. Sure. Quite a number of responses. So already it's encouraging to see, while we are looking at this, most of us, over 96% of us, are using Google Scholar as opposed to just Google. That is so encouraging. Do we use Google Scholar via the Rhodes Library website? Again, really encouraging to see that over half of us do, and the other 41% who don't, perhaps you'll be encouraged to do
half
so.
Who don't.
Sorry?
It's the other way around, sad to say.
Oh, 60%. Oh, wait, I'm reading it the wrong way around. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's bad news, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's bad news. Well, hopefully that will change after we've gone through the rest of the slides. Are you aware of the benefits of using Google Scholar via the library website? Let's have a look at the yes. Okay, that's now more encouraging from the previous responses. if you have replied that you do not know, that you do know the benefits of using Google Scholar via the library's website, what are the benefits? And it's access to lots of more docs, link resolver results. I do not know the benefits, open access to the journals that the library subscribes to, free full paper available, access to the full text articles through institutional subscriptions. You get access to articles via the repository. There's anyone I can think of. Access to articles that are behind paywalls. It links to university linked articles, access to more academic papers. It allows one to access journals. I'm just going through 0-rated website, I do not know. These responses are very, very encouraging and exciting to see from our point of view. Have you created a Google Scholar profile? 70% of our respondents have said no. So let's go through the next few slides, and hopefully, there we go. Are we back to that, to the presentation?
Yes, thanks, Debbie.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully after these few slides, those two areas of concern, if you can call it that, might change in response rates. So this is the library's webpage, and most of you are using Google Scholar through the library webpage. And for those of you who aren't, this is where you will access Google Scholar, where this arrow is. And to register, well, let's just first of all go through a Google Scholar search. So I chose COVID-19 just because it's very topical. And here you will see that there's a number of results. What I specifically want to point out, the advantages of using Google Scholar through the library webpage, as opposed to using Google Scholar just on its own. Okay, one of the first, and a lot of you have already mentioned this in your comments. The first one is that all the results on the right-hand side, if there are links that there, and you can see that there are 4 links here, it means that the library subscribes to these journals, and or it means that the article is available open access. What does that mean to you? It means that you will be able to access the full text of that article, either through the library's subscriptions or because the article is available as open access. Then the next thing that you'll see is every result will have this kind of format. And here, this top result, there are 4 different versions of this article, which means this article appears in 4 different access routes, if you can call it that. Okay, so if you can't access the article through the library portal, another good place to go is to these 4 versions, and you may be able to access your full text through that. Okay. Here you will see articles are cited by, and it gives you a number. And in this instance, in the second article, cited by 152 people. This gives you an indication of whether this article is popular or not, whether the content is correct or not. It does mean that there's a lot of interest in this article, and if this is your topic, it could be an interesting article to read. So that's just an indicator of that. The next thing that you'll see is the sign where it says sign in, and that is a sign in to paper pile, which means if this is an article that you would like to save as a reference, you could save this article in your paper pile, which is a reference management software tool available to Rhodes University affiliates. And it is only used if you are going to be working with Google Docs and in the Google sort of environment. If you are not happy to work in the Google environment, you can also save your reference into something like RefWorks or Zotero or Mendeley by importing the article into BibTeX and then follow the instructions from there. Okay, so now to register a profile, this is the one area where I saw we didn't have a lot of you registering a profile. Why would you want to register a profile? Okay, so Sue, I'm afraid I'm going to use you as an example, and I hope that's okay, but your profile is open to the world to see. Okay, so to register a researcher's profile, you would simply go to Google Scholar, and at the top on the left-hand side is My Profile, and you click on that, and you type in, you click on that and you register. And then once you have registered your profile, to look for your profile, you would type in your name, and in this instance, I was obviously typed in Sue McKenna's name. And here you will see that Sue has a Google Scholar profile because of this little format at the top here. If Sue did not have a Google Scholar profile, you would see her name listed without this top piece here. You would see her name listed in the results. But in this instance, Sue has a Google Scholar profile. Okay, so just some highlights here that are really important for you and why you should consider creating yourself a profile. The first is, you can see here immediately that Sue is a Rhodes affiliate. It also means that if you move to another institution, you can change your affiliation at that point as well. But it does keep a record, Google Scholar does keep a record of your affiliations. The other interesting feature is these keynotes or subject areas. These are your research area topics. So there's, in Sue's case, it's higher education, academic literacy, and so on. So anybody who's looking at Sue's Google Scholar profile can already see what interests Sue has, and here you're opening up opportunities for potential collaborations. So that's a very good way of advertising yourself in a non-threatening way. Okay, here, the first article here shows that this article has been cited 104 times. Again, it was published in 2016. What I haven't got another slide to show this in more detail, but what you can do is go to the 104 and click on that link, and there you can open up all the articles that have, the 104 articles that have cited this paper written by Sue. And the importance of doing that is that you could also pick up potential collaborators there by doing that, because you can see people who are, you'll see names recurring a number of times. So another little tip there. At the top, and this is important if you are considering to apply for research funding or academic rating. Some of you might be at those stages already. Or some of you might be thinking about that, and how would you go about that? So Google Scholar gives and the raters and the funders do look at Google Scholar citations, and here it gives an indication of how many citations your articles have accrued, what your H index is at that point, and the I-10 index, what that is. So basically, an H index, for those of you who might not be sure of, an H index suggests that, okay, of say, in this we'll just take Sue's index, which is 19. Say Sue has published just 38 articles. I know she's published a lot more, but of those 38 articles, 19 of those articles have been cited at least 19 times. That gives Sue that rating of 19. There's a lot of contention about the H indexes, and I think the one that you need to maybe take away with you is that an H index for the social scientists, so an H index 19 for a social scientist will be different to the value of that H index to, say, the field of science or the field of commerce and law. So it is discipline specific, and all your funders and raters are aware of this, and keep that in mind. Okay, and the I-10 is a slightly different index. It just means, and that's not always taken into account. But if you want to know more about that, we can chat about that. Okay, so that is Google Scholar. Another little quiz is the ORCID. So just to see where we are with ORCID, I'm going to put another quiz in our chat box and see where we go with that. And I see there's some messages in the chat box, so it looks great that we're going to have some chats shortly. And I'm going to go into our Google form for ORCID, and let's see how our responses go there.
Can you pop the link into the chat bar?
I've done that. Has it not come through? Let me do it again. Has it come through?
Not yet.
Not yet. It went through the first time. What's happening now? Not yet.
Strange.
Oh, wait. Okay, hang on a second. I sent it to Robin Ferguson. Sorry. Okay.
Well, Robin's got it. She's okay.
Robin's got it, guys. Sorry. Okay, it's there now, hopefully.
I think that was still the old link, wasn't it?
Is it?
It takes me to Google Scholar, not ORCID.
Okay, let's try this. I've tested all of these, so let's give it a go.
Well, it's the rule of technology that it only works when you're testing it and not when you're actually using it.
I was thinking about that myself. Is it still taking you to Google Scholar?
No, I think it's good now.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Oh, great. Okay.
No. Oh, no, it's not taking us.
You need permission now. Oh, dear.
Oh, it's working for me.
Okay.
You may have if it still needs permission. Okay, it's working for most people, so it should be.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, maybe,
okay,
yeah.
I've taken it out of Rhodes University
save.
and trusted. Okay,
Yeah,
there we go.
perfect,
Right.
perfect. Okay, should work for us all now.
Okay. Because we're probably only looking at Rhodes University domains rather than Gmails and stuff. Not working. Okay, worked for Benjamin. Looks like it's working for.
You might have to close it and just open it again.
Who, me?
No, not you.
Oh.
Oh dear, still not working. Do you want to go into your settings again? Because I suspect it's people outside who haven't signed in via Gmail or Rhodes. Yeah, that works. No, still not working.
Still not working.
Oh dear.
Okay, well, waiting for responses. Oh dear. Well, I don't know what to do now other than maybe.
And I think those of us who have put in responses, it's not recording for some reason.
And it's not recording.
Because some of us have done it and it's not showing any on your side. Sorry, Debbie.
Okay, so that might be a little bit of a sad thing. Okay, I hope this doesn't happen with the others. You managed to fill it out. I'm wondering if it's gone to the, this is the copy. I'll have a look at it maybe at, let me just try one other thing.
You might be on a different version.
I think I see the title there's a copy.
Yeah,
okay, colleagues in
our one doesn't say copy.
Sorry?
Our one doesn't say copy of. So
one doesn't say copy.
So if you follow the link yourself, that should work. I mean, the link that you just gave us.
Yes, you do that. But I think it'll just take me to the form.
Okay. Yeah, but then you'll be able to. If it takes you to the form, that's okay.
Yeah. No, I don't want to waste time on this. It'll just be interesting to see about this, but I think we've got time.
That's it. Now just press the little pencil at the bottom right.
Teaching me so many tricks, Sue. Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, so for those of you who weren't able to get in, I really apologize for that. It's technology. But let's have a look here. Have you heard about ORCID responses? Oh, good, 100% yes. Do you know what ORCID is? Yes, most people do. And that's also great. Have you registered for your ORCID researcher identity number? 90% yes. That's so good. I'm really happy. Have you created an ORCID profile? 63% yes. Okay. This is very encouraging, and hopefully some of those statistics will change. And I think in the last question, have you created an ORCID profile? Maybe the presentation would assist you in creating a profile a little bit more detailed. Okay, I've gone back to the presentation now, so I'm hoping that we can see this.
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Sue. So ORCID, for those of you, and I know that a lot of you weren't able to answer the quiz. So for those of you who might not know what ORCID is, it is an online researcher identity number. It is a persistent identifier number, and maybe that will mean something more towards the end of just chatting about ORCID. But it stands for Open Researcher and Contributor ID. And what does that mean for you? Okay, so to register for your ORCID, you would simply use that HTTPS ORCID number, registration number at, or link at the top of the screen. And ORCID was originally designed to help researchers connect all their research together. Okay, what does that? What does that mean, and by that? So if you look at the ORCID number there of Helen Cruz, so once she had registered her ORCID, she was then given an ORCID number, and only Helen Cruz will have that number. Nobody else will have that number. Okay, but Helen did publish under her maiden name, and then she started publishing under her married name. Okay, and when you apply for funding or academic rating, and you've only used one version of your name, previously the NRF or the funders and the raters would only really look at the research output given research output according to the name that you submitted your application with. Okay, which meant that if there are other publications with different variations of your name, those would have been omitted out of your application success sort of outcome. So ORCID brings all your research together in one place, using different by trawling through the different variations of your name on published articles. And if you look at the same for Jen Snowball, I know that some researchers you use your own and your standard name when you submit an article for publication, but sometimes the publishers, and quite often the publishers, use their own variation of your name. So that also causes quite a lot of confusion and omissions when you apply for rating and funding. Okay, but the success of that kind of technology, and its social media technology, allowed ORCID to realize that there's so much more that could be done with just with the ORCID profile, other than just having your ORCID number. Okay, and this is an example of Sue again, of what a concise and fairly well populated ORCID profile could look like. So in the top there, you have your bibliography, and your bibliography is just something that you would like to write about yourself. It also lists your employment, education, your invited positions, funding, and then of course your ORCID works, and we'll speak to that a little bit later. But what you are starting to create here is an online CV and online researcher identity and CV. What you could also do with and here are just different variations of your name. And this is what we were talking about in the previous slide. What ORCID also allows you to do is connect your ORCID to different websites. So you'll see the different websites here, and critical ones are your, not critical ones, the ones we're speaking about today are your Google Scholar citations. We'll briefly look at your digital commons, and then of course there's academia.edu, ResearchGate. I always like to point out that please put your country in your ORCID profile, because we're trying to promote South African research and continental research as well, and make our research more visible to borders outside our continent. And then at the bottom here, we have Scopus Author ID, which are articles that have been published on the Elsevier platform. And then you've got your Researcher ID, which are articles that have been published on the Web of Science platform. And these links here, once you have these links here, your research articles will be automatically populated in your works. So your works, you can populate your works manually, but you can also populate them using wizards. And if you need help with the wizards, we are available to assist you with that. I know it sounds confusing, and it's not Harry Potter, but they call them wizards. Excuse me. But I'm just going to take a sip here. But by creating these links of Scopus Author ID and your Researcher ID, your works are automatically updated. So these first two works, Sue, I'm sure, updated them herself, okay? And this work here at the bottom, Sue would have no need to update this manually, because the ORCID is updated every 2 weeks by these platforms, Web of Science and Elsevier. And when they do that, they also provide a DOI, which is a digital object identifier. And if you click on that link, you are taken immediately to the article. Okay. So this is the value of ORCID. I'm sorry.
Interoperability.
Okay. So interoperability, I apologize for the coughing. You will have created yourself a Researcher ID, and we are connected with Rhodes, who has a ORCID ID. Your publishers have ORCID IDs, and your funders have as well. And what does this mean is, you as the researcher, you have written an article, and you will submit your article to the publisher. Once that is done, the publisher will let your employer know, which is HR and the research office. And the publisher will also let your funder know, which might be the NRF or whatever other funders you may have used. So basically, it means enter once and reuse often. Automatically, by one other person acknowledging your ORCID, everything else is updated, which is where the updating comes every 2 weeks. Okay. The quickest way to publicize yourself and market yourself and make your research visible is by putting your ORCID in your email signature. Right. But are you ready for, or would you like to try the next quiz, which is on insights?
Let's give it a try, Debbie, because that first
Okay.
one worked so well.
Okay.
So with any luck, this one will not give us hiccups.
Okay, so I'm going to put insights in the chat box. Thank you, Sue, for that feedback. So make sure that the settings.
Okay, if you needed permission, I suggest you just close that page and follow the link again, and hopefully now it will work.
Okay, so some responses are coming through.
It looks like it's working for everyone now.
It looks like it's working much better than the awkward one. And we can see, not, have you heard about Insights? No. These are results that I am expecting. Do you know what Insights is used for? No, mostly no. Are you thinking of applying for sorry, let's go down again. Are you thinking of applying for research funding in the near future? 80% yes. So maybe this is a good time for us to be chatting. And are you thinking of applying for academic rating soon? Almost half. So again, I think that this session today is actually good timing, Sue. Okay, so let's go back to the slides. There we go. So Insights. So Insights is, I'll just say straight off, it's a very, very expensive tool, and it's something, it's a tool that's used by both the library and the research office. And it's a benchmarking and analytics tool for researchers, for librarians, for public, for research administrators, so that would be the research office, and also for publishers. I will also say straight off, it is a complex tool to get your head around. And quite often, when I'm asked to assist with a citation analysis, if it's a simple query, I can get my way around it. And if it isn't a simple query, then I get hold of WWIS colleagues there, or the experts, and we work through it together and then come back with the results for you. Okay, so the purpose of letting you know about Insights is to say there is this tool available to help you when you are making those applications. Yes, we are aware that it could be very confusing, and you want to run away from using that particular tool. Please don't run away. Please come and see us, and we will help you and get you all the answers that you require. Okay, right. So what are we benchmarking and analyzing? I will also say that this new interface of Insights is web user-friendly. It was launched, this new interface was launched in June. The previous interface was horrific, and I even wanted to run away from that one. Okay, so here you can see what kind of activities or features that Insights will offer you. You can analyze your research outputs. You can report on it, and you can organize. The organize is more for yourself, where you have your own files or your own dashboard where you can save the searches that you've done before. And that would more or less be the mostly used by the research office. And possibly reports would be used by HODs, and analyze would be used by researchers and librarians and publishers. Okay. Access to Insights, I've put the link there. So if you want to go in and have a look at Insights and play around with it and see for yourself what it's all about, it's there. Oh, sorry. And if you want to know more about Insights, there's a really fantastic LibGuide, which has been created by Clarivate Analytics. They are the business model or the platform and the developers of Insights, amongst other tools that they develop. It's a fantastic LibGuide, and instead of reinventing the wheel, that's one really good one to go to. Okay, so what does Insights mean for us? Okay, so Insights is a benchmarking and analytics tool. It is customized, web-based research evaluation tool that can help you develop your research strategy. So that's for yourself, that's developing your own career path. Which area of research should I be going into, and am I interested in going into that area? Those are kind of questions you would be asking there. You would have to be aware, though, that this tool is specifically for Web of Science research publications, okay? Elsevier has their own one, which is called Pure, and Cyval. We don't subscribe to those because it's horrendously expensive. Okay. So what is the value of insights for researchers? Well, you can gauge your performance. Some of you would like to be interested in doing that. I know some people are also not. You just like to do your research in your own way. It enables you to monitor your research performance against others in your research field, and that could be in your department, or it could be in nationally, internationally. And then Insights enables you to support your accreditation activities when you apply for academic rating and research funding. The value for Rhodes University. Well, the value there is, and this is where the research office and the DVC of research and DVC of research, Dr. Clayton, they would be very keen to use the tool to identify the strengths and weaknesses or the strong and weak research areas at Rhodes in relation to national, continental, and global comparisons. They could use the tool to identify top researchers and also to identify researcher and institutional collaborations. And that is more and more becoming very important, collaborations. And there's some exciting data visualizations of those results. And this is just a quick look of what you could be looking at. So on the left-hand side, this is Rhodes University Insights. This was done, this is as of yesterday. So the one on the left-hand side is a GIPP use of categories. I have looked high and low what GIPP means. And you know, I don't know what it means, okay, but what it does, what it really is just breaking down your subject areas in 6 broad areas, okay? And so you can see it, life sciences and physical sciences and so on. So 31% of our Rhodes, 31% of the publications in Web of Science are life sciences, and then equally 31% of physical sciences and so on, okay? If you look at the blocks on the right-hand side, it breaks it further down into 17 further categories, which are now Web of Science identified categories. And the strongest or the highest proportion of publications come from the field of astronomy and astrophysics. And then you've got ecology, and then environmental science, then marine and freshwater biology, and education and educational sciences. You could break it down even further. But what I'm just trying to show you is how advantageous the tool is for the institution or the research office side of things. And then for if you're looking at an individual researcher, you have to be, I would suggest coming for some assistance with this. And I've chosen Professor as an example because the top 2 of Professor Neo Kong is Rhodes University. She's Rhodes University affiliated, and that's chemistry. But the bottom 2 is another Tabelo Neo Kong, who is also featuring quite highly in the agricultural sciences. So so that's the one area where one has to be careful. And I just want to point out that it does allow researchers to have a look and see how many times you are cited. In this instance, Prof has 648 plus another 55 items, research articles in Web of Science. And it gives category normalization impact rates. In other words, what is it saying? It's saying that when in this first line, when Prof submits articles, a normal impact factor is 1. So 0.93 means she's close to the 1, and 1.55 says that these particular 55 articles are way above the norm, which is indicating high impact on each of the research articles that she writes. So just to highlight where we can assist you when you apply for academic rating and funding. Okay, we're close to ending now. The next slides are very quick because all I want to do is make you aware of our Rhodes Digital Commons, and just to let you know that when you write your theses and your dissertations, the Registrar's Division notifies the library, and we deposit your thesis onto our Rhodes Digital Commons theses and dissertations. And the link for that is on the slides. These slides will be shared with you, so you can access these links. The next one I want to talk about is the repositories. So some of you may have already written research articles, and if you have, we would love to be able to assist you to deposit them onto our repository for Rhodes Digital Commons repository. And what this repository is there for all our digital commons. It's the research output generated by Rhodes University. So it's only the research output that you've generated while you have been at Rhodes. If you have come from another institution or going to another institution, we would not include that research output on our repository, because you would then be depositing that research in your new institution or your old institution. But on this page, I would also like to just mention that this View PDF EN is an EndNote click web browser, and if you are looking for open access articles, this is a really good extension to download, and we can assist you with that. The links at the bottom here take you to the Rhodes Digital Commons so that you can have a look at a glance at what it's all about. And then we have a LibGuide on our Rhodes University library page, which will assist you with that. The kinds of article or the kind of material you could deposit there would be journal articles, conference papers, any reports, books and books chapters, and audio-visual materials. Okay. Then we also have another digital commons. So we've had the theses and dissertations, we've had the repository, and now the research data. If you have generated any research data, we would then encourage you to deposit your research data in our Figshare platform, which is for research data, and there's the link there for you to follow and explore. And our last, if you are wanting to see what's value this has for you, because we don't have the time to go into that value, these are the particular titles that you could have a look at when you look at the Figshare platform and see why you would want to deposit your research data there. If you're not wanting to have your research data publicized just yet, you could upload your research data in the project's part of it, and you would have access to the data, but nobody else would have access to your data, and we can assist you with that. Okay. Then the last of the Rhodes Digital Commons, this is just to make you aware that we have Rhodes hosted journals, and we have 3 journals there. The first one I've just put here is the African Music Journal, and if you want to explore that further, there is that link there. Then reference management tools. I'm sure you're all very comfortable with reference management, and some of you might be already using the tools, and some of you might still be using the manual method. We just want to let you know that at Rhodes, we subscribe to RefWorks, so we teach that as a matter of course when we teach 3rd years and above in our workshops. We also teach Mendeley, and we teach Zotero. And we have PaperPal, which is also subscribed to by the university through Shirtle. And the library and research office can assist you with any of your questions or installations that you might require. Okay, this is the final questionnaire, and this is simply for us to know where we might be able to assist you. At the beginning of the session, I asked you that you might want further information or assistance on any of the things that we've discussed, because we only have an hour today. So to give us an indication of whether you would like face-to-face assistance, or perhaps we could set up a Google Meet and go through a workshop. It would be wonderful if you could fill in this questionnaire or this quiz and let us know where we could assist you. I think we've still got time to fill in this questionnaire. There's only 6 questions there, and I've just shared the link for you. And yeah, this is the questionnaire. I think there's just 6 questions. Yeah. Because really, all we would like to know is how we can help you. And if we're not the experts in that area, we know who can help you. And it also helps us to know, should we hold more workshops in a particular area and make it more available? So it's starting to come through now. Thank you.
It seems some people are not getting permission again.
Oh, hectic. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I've done that same thing again. Sorry.
I can't tell you how often I've done exactly the same thing. So there you go. If you didn't get permission, you can try again now.
Sorry. Thank you so much for making me feel better soon. I'm glad you're watching the chat. I'm watching, you know. Okay, so some responses are coming through. But it looks like, yes, just from what I'm seeing at the moment, and I'm sure more coming through. Would you like a hands-on Google? Looks like yes. Hands-on Orchid looks like yes. Insights workshop, definitely a yes, that's a definite. Okay, that's great.
You're going to be busy.
Sorry?
I said you're going to be very busy.
Well, this is one of the outcomes we're hoping for. We just want to help people to get going and raise the visibility of themselves and their research. Have you written research articles? Yes. And if you've answered yes, would you like to contact your librarian to have the research uploaded? Okay, yes, that's great. A lot of people do. Have you generated research data? Not as many people, okay. But if you've answered yes, would you like to contact your librarian to have institutional research data uploaded? Looks like it's increasingly yes. And would you like your librarian to assist you with reference management tools? Yes. And okay, RefWorks, Mendeley, Zotero, not sure. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Great. And responses are still coming in. I'm just having a look to see if it's still more or less the same. And insights. Okay. So generally, generally all much the same as what we did earlier. Okay. Thank you so much for participating in the quizzes, because that really does help a lot with all of that, with how we can proceed further. And these are your contacts for your faculty librarians: Science and Pharmacy, Ms. Tandewe Menzi; Commerce and Law, Ms. Jill Otto; Humanities and Education, Ms. Linda Cartwright; and Scholarly Communications, Ms. Nandi Fumbata. And then, oh, sorry, wrong one. Sorry. And then just the final slide to say thank you, and those are my contact details. And yes, thank you everybody, and thank you so much for participating in the. I tried to make this as interactive as we could, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you so much, Debbie. I think a lot of us are just feeling like there's so much to learn, but I just want to re-emphasize, I mean, you've alerted us to so many resources, and I think that there's 3 take-home messages I'm hoping everyone will take. Number 1, use Google Scholar through the library. I think there's a couple of people here who are not from Rhodes University. Well, your own library, your own university library will have a link to Google Scholar, but you need to go through your library. If you're off campus, it may well require, to then log in, but you will have access to so much more if you use Google Scholar through the library rather than Google Scholar as the average Joe on the street. Our libraries pay for access to a whole lot of stuff on Google Scholar that you don't get if you just, if you just go to Google Scholar as any ordinary person. That's number one. Number two, I think, was just to say how lucky we are to have librarians who really do reach out and want to assist. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by any of this, then the main lesson to take home is to remember that there are people at the end of all this technology, and they are very, very supportive. And I notice in the room we've got, I saw a chat to Vaynant and Wetu, but we've also got Nandi is in the room, Linda, Jill. So there's a lot of real human beings who can help us through these things. And what was my third thing? I've forgotten what the third thing is. But I think the third thing is to say that it's clear that we do need some follow-up sessions, and we will definitely make sure that we offer them. So Debbie, thank you so much for your time. I'll be in touch with you for follow-up sessions. There's 3 minutes left if anyone has a burning question or request. I've noted your request, Robin, and a couple of others, and certainly that Google form has highlighted 2 additional sessions that we can hold. Is there anything else? Yeah, I like Money's comment. I learned too much today. Exactly. Yeah.
I hope I didn't overwhelm you. And I apologize if I do, or I did. I just feel that these are important things that we need to be thinking about. And you may want to use them or not use them, but the takeaway from that is we are here to assist you with them, and at least you know what to ask for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't think it's overwhelming. I think it's also a case of you learn these things as you go along. When I started out, maybe it's because I'm so old that none of these things existed when I started out, or maybe it's more to the point that you learn these things as you go and as you need them. So sessions like this just make us aware that they're out there, and importantly make us aware of human beings who can help us with them when a YouTube video just doesn't cut it and you need to speak to a real person. So I think, some people, I think you made that comment about H indices, for some people, there's a strong political resistance against H indices. For others, you're just starting out. If you look at the H indices of various people in your field, it can feel like, oh, I'm never going to get there, but we're not in a race against each other. We're all in an endeavor together. So just knowing that those things are there, you can engage with them if and when you want to. Thank you, everybody, for your time. And I will send you I'll send you a link to, or I'll send you a link to the recording if you want to go into the recording, and I'll send out the PowerPoint tomorrow. Keep well, everybody. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you for the invite, and thank you, colleagues. I appreciate this very much. Thank you, Sue. Bye.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you, Tom. Hi, Tom.
Nice to see you.
And you too, yes.
Well, I can see your name.
Oh, you want me to switch on my video?